What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are outside Ceremony in Brooklyn, and today we are here with Dave of Gridfailure. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got all the time in the world for you.
Yeah. It's so awesome to have you here. It sounds absolutely awesome. They're ready for you to just totally demolish this club tonight.
All right. That's cool. I hope there's some people to show up with a couple bucks that want to do the same thing and, get some beers out of it. It'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. And some whiskey.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But what I find interesting about Gridfailure, I did see you before and, setting up the projection and everything like that. I feel like you are just as much of a visual experience as you are as a musical experience. Is like the projection that you have on stage, is this like a vision that comes from your music, or is it a completely separate entity?
We didn't have the visuals for the first bunch of shows. I wanted the concept to be there the whole time. I started making videos for a lot of the albums just for specific songs. And a lot of it, I don't have any kind of budget or, knowledge on how to actually set it up. So I'll just kind of make like an abstract sort of idea of what I'm trying to project. If it's, a lot of it's about environmental collapse and, just the world falling apart and everything. So a lot of it just comes through the jagged delivery of the video and the weird abstract bending and everything else without actually filming actors and having a set where we're, trying to do World War III or something. Most of it's all abstract anyway in the videos. So a lot of what I have in the backing track for the live set is from videos that I've made. I'll cut up just different pieces of all the other videos and just kind of make a collage, about 5 or 6 different videos and some other random stuff and just kind of smash it all together. So yeah, it's more of a dizzying array of color and dementia, not really exactly showing what the lyrical content might be about, but yeah, just kind of it's an abstract way of projecting, I guess, what's trying to come through in the songs.
Is there a similar creative energy that you channel into visual art as you do with music, or is it a completely separate mind frame altogether?
I've been drawing and everything my whole life, and painting, and went to art school with airbrushing and stuff like all that visual aspect. But video is something almost brand new to me. I just started doing it with Gridfailure. I started just shooting, taking my GoPro when I'm mountain biking and, just hiking in the woods and just, shooting landscapes and things like that. It's not really, it just became that. And then that's like, okay, well, here's what I have. What do I do with this to make a video? Mirrors and effects and, contrast and everything else, and just kind of make it insane. It just kind of developed from there. So it's a constantly learning experience in every way. I like Gridfailure in general to me is a learning experience because I'd only played bass and sang in bands prior to this, and now I'm playing guitar or drums or whatever, doing all the visuals and everything. So it's this fully immersive thing for me. It's like every aspect of Gridfailure is just kind of just this ongoing learning curve for me, I guess. So I'm not really afraid to try anything or make any kind of mistakes. The whole thing is a huge mistake, I think. So I'm not really afraid to, go out on stage and try it out or anything else. Yeah, it just is what it is, Yeah.
What I'm curious is I always thought that Gridfailure's music is very experimental. You were playing with an accordion player, you have drums, you have all these different effects. It's fair to say that you don't have a style that necessarily defines Gridfailure. You like to experiment and try new things with your music, right?
Absolutely. There's not one. I guess it came out of dark ambient and industrial sort of music, I guess, at the point. I started the band when I was playing with Theologian for 1 year. And that was my first foray into anything that wasn't like a punk band or a hardcore band or something more direct with 5 members who got together and everybody put in their share of dues for the studio or whatever and, split all the costs and everything. It's the first thing I just took on is just, hey, I'm just going to go do whatever I want and have nobody in the way. And then whoever wants to come along and play, it's cool. So I started having all kinds of random collaborators come in on the records and everything else, and there's just no rhyme or reason to it. Some records I'll do everything completely myself and have nobody else involved. And there's other records that are just packed full of, 15 different friends and, just random people I know who I invite to, hey, what do you play? Sure, play it. What can't you play in your black metal band? Cool, come play the jazz riff for me, whatever. So yeah, there's stuff that goes right from like lounge piano, jazz, mellow stuff into just straight harsh noise into like more of a hardcore thing. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out with like a world music edge to it. There's just all these different types of music kind of all coming into one record or one song even. So No, there's just, I don't want it to be defined as anything. I don't care if anybody calls it anything. If somebody has the time to like listen to a song and they can make it through it and they can call it something, great. Call it whatever you'd like. I'm not going to, well, I don't like the post-avant. Like I'm not going to argue. I don't care. Call it jazz, call it dog shit. Like it's I have fun doing it, and it's just going to be this ever progressing sort of thing live. Like you said, I've done solo shows, and I have, tonight 2 guys. Greg Meisenberg is playing drums tonight for the first time. We have not had a practice, and everything live is improv. So that's why we didn't need a practice. Former drummer Rich just left after a couple shows, and he might come back, but he's got tinnitus, so he can't really play drums anymore, like especially in a dense place like this. So Greg came in, and we're just going to see where it goes from here. Ben does his band. Ben Levitt is playing tonight. He does his group Megalophobe. But Megalophobe and Gridfailure have done 2 fully collaborative records so far. We have a third one in the works, and we collaborate on each other's records and everything else. So it's just, he's basically as built in as a member can be besides myself. So it's just, if Ben can't make it to a show, then I just go do whatever without him. There's no limits to really we could have 8 people on stage or 1. It can be anything. So
that's awesome.
Really,
you could outdo Slipknot with the amount of members.
Oh, I don't know. I can't outdo Slipknot with the amount of money. So, I mean, we're in here taping shit together, and I got my laptop plugged into, I got wires coming out of the ceiling with a projector plugged in right now, and we have to make sure no one, sits on it during the set. So, yeah, I mean.
I'll guard it for you.
Okay. I don't think anybody's going to steal it, but, if they do, good for them. Maybe they can get past, everybody else in the joint.
Imagine they steal it during the set and they actually get away with it.
Well, that'd be good because, I mean, if we have someone filming it, then I'll get a good flying tackle on film because, it's a pretty good projector and I got it for a good price. I'm not going to get it again, so I'll take a knife for that one.
Now, I have 2 more questions for you. Collaborating with so many different members, though, that has to open your mind to new ideas to yourself as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't really... I have, like, sort of a vision of a song or a vision of a record sometimes, but sometimes it's just, like, I'll just be recording whatever. I'm trying out a new pedal on an analog synth and made a cool sound, so let's loop that and put some beats to it and see where it goes from there. And then I play it for a friend and he puts like slide guitar to it or just harsh noise or whatever. I got friends that play in a certain kind of band that can only really do one thing in their band. They can't really experiment too far outside of their black metal has so many rules and limitations and everything. It's like you can't do this, you can't do that. That's why this is the opposite. This is like this is more like art class. It's like so cut and paste. So when I want to collaborate with somebody, it would be like, I know this person has a really good sound at this, or I know, this person can play guitar but can also sing with this beautiful voice that I don't have. So let's try to add that element to it, and then something totally new will come out of that. Or, just, hey Ben, what do you think about this song? And he'll come back with some crazy accordion track that adds this mournful funeral tone I hadn't planned on. Or my buddy Christian from Those Darn Gnomes he'll send me like just some crazy piano piece. He'll be like, I know this is too pretty for Gridfailure, and I'll be like, well, that's the challenge then, isn't it? And then, boom, all of a sudden we got this really pretty song that everybody just wants to murder themselves during. So it's just, I normally have a lot of elements in place when I'm putting a song or an idea together, but when someone else comes in with something I wasn't expecting, all of a sudden a whole record can change with one contribution. All of a sudden it's like, holy shit, this and this song pair together, and all of a sudden I have this concept that just fits and a lyric will make sense, and all of a sudden, okay, let's call the album that, now let's do it, now let's focus on it and get that done and ship it and like whatever, and just go on to the next one. I don't even know, 15 records in the works right now, like at any given time. I'm always working on that much, fully collaborative records with people, splits, albums. I have the 5-album concept series. I'm about to put the second one out. That's been in the works for 3 years, basically. So, I mean, there's material coming out now that's I've been working on for 3 years, or I recorded 3 years ago and it sat there. So, I don't think it's not, if you listen to Gridfailure in like 3 years from now, you're going to hear stuff that's coming out now that should have been out 2 years. It's not going to be like you can follow a band from A to B to C all the way through. It's going to sound like someone took it and cut it all up and, dissected it and sewed all the parts back together and Frankenstein something else. So who knows where it'll ever change into something totally new. I mean, it's like I said, there's just no boundaries to it. So
It seems like you approach your own music from many different directions, and a listener could approach you from many different directions as well.
yeah, I mean, I think that's ultimately what makes music enjoyable. I mean, you can sit and listen to a pop song, and it's telling you the words, and it's telling you the lyrics, and it's putting the hook in there and everything. You know what the song's about, and that's pretty much it. Even if there's some kind of duality to it, you pretty much get it. If you listen to jazz, something with no vocals, you're making it completely up in your head based off of what's the bass doing, what's the trumpet, is it mournful and crunched up and slowing down, or are they just popping off with each other? Like, do you want to do this to it, or do you want to like drink and hang your head? You know what I mean? It's like I kind of go with that sort of aspect. It's like, I can't listen to that the Walmart country and stuff like that, but then you listen to like real harsh like outlaw country and really sad shit, and like it just makes you want to cry, and it's like where did that come from? Like just from this melody, or like do I relate to the words or whatever? I think it's most of that is in the listener. You can take a song that's a totally negative song, and I'll be driving around listening to it, ripping murderous lyrics, singing them out the window to people. You're in a good mood. It's a nice day, it doesn't have to be because you're singing a song you feel that, Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. If I have a really pretty part that doesn't really make sense, it's going to end up being a harsh, disgusting song anyway, in some way, So it's, yeah.
The beauty of ugliness.
Absolutely. It's more like, there's things like Play-Doh and art class and just a bad lab experiment. It's not really like band practice. It's just straight chaos all the time. It's more like, trying to navigate your way out of the event horizon than like practicing with two friends for a couple hours and, memorizing a hook. Almost all of everything I do is improv. So it's really hard to replicate and rebuild things, It's more like just making a conscious effort at going towards a style or a sound, I guess.
And the final question I want to ask you is always the hardest question I ask every band. How do you know when a song is done?
When you get sick of it, when you absolutely can't listen to it anymore, when you're like 2 versions ago it was done and now I did all this shit to it. So then you go back and pull that one out and just wrap it. I mean, it can really go anywhere. That's another thing, because if you got 3 guys in a band that write drums and bass and guitar, and one of them writes the lyrics, it's going to be confined to somewhat of a sound, or even if it's not, it's still going to be confined to this guy does this and this guy does that. I'm playing drums and I can't play drums. I'm playing guitar and I suck at guitar. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing all the vocals, but I'm doing different effects and everything, and I have other people come in and sing like beautiful vocals over it. So I could think of songs done, like these songs I'm working on for this record, Teeth Collection, was supposed to be my second record. It was going to come out 3 years ago, and it's part of this 5-album series I'm talking about. So I'm still working on that. So some of those songs are done for 3 years. Now when I go to finish that whole album, no, I'm going to dust all these, I'm probably going to rework half of the album and put myself through hell again. So it's just going to depend on, where the album goes. Yeah, I don't think there's a point where you're like, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then it's done. And you get to that third point, and it's actually done. That never happens. So, yeah, I don't think there's an actual. I think it's a trick question, dude. I think you got me on that one.
Yeah.
I don't.
As I get everybody, that's my best way of trolling people.
Yeah, it works.
So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. It's going to be a killer show tonight. Is there just anything else you would like to promote? I know that you got that instrumental split coming out. Just anything else? Yeah,
it's a split with Feel Happiness. My buddy Lane Oliver, who's he's been contributing to some records lately. It's his new project. So we have a split coming out Friday the 13th, September. And then I have like probably 3 or 4 more records coming out this year. I'm going for at least 8 releases this year, maybe up to 10. And some of that is, little splits and things like that. And some are full albums and some are collaborative albums. And all. There's just like an endless amount of stuff. And to me, it's like I feel bogged down by how much stuff I have. So I want to keep cranking it up, and then I keep making more. So it's just kind of like a self-fulfilling curse or something like that. Yeah. We got another show coming up September 1st at Vitus. It's the first time playing Vitus, so I'm stoked about that.
Awesome.
Hit that sound system in there and, do something other than stand in the middle of that floor like I have for 8,000 shows now. Might have a little tour we're trying to put together for like November. We'll see if that works out. Something probably up to the Northeast. We like, Maine, and I like playing Portland. Their buddies Zud, probably do another show with them, and probably do something up in Manchester or Providence or something. I want to do shows with that band Tovarish from up there. They're just out of control. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's in the works, but not really figured out. I just, like I said, just this show kind of came out of nowhere, and I had to find a lineup. So after today, then we'll see what's next. But yeah, there's a lot coming. There's a lot of videos, there's a lot of albums, and hopefully a lot of shows. So
8 releases. Thank you for Tool. You could learn a thing or two.
yeah, I could learn a thing or two. Please don't pull that.
But thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Everybody, Dave of Gridfailure. Be sure to pick up new music coming very soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we'll see you next time.